Hello, my name is Adrian Maciejewski, and I think this wraps up for all the Polish startups in the crowd. We have been bundled up into three right now. We are creating a clear path for a continuous biosignal, mainly focusing in on ECGs. And so chest pain is a global problem. Analytica, I believe you left. We should have discussed this. It affects nearly 4 billion people in the general population at least once in their lifetime. This accounts for over 200 million visits annually to the emergency department or a GP. And nearly 4% of patients that were discharged come back to the ED to have within 1 month for a life-threatening cardiac event. Chest pain diagnostics today. So 10% of patients go to a GP or an unqualified physician, and only 49% of nurses and 16% of cardiologists place ECG electrodes correctly. On the right side, you actually see the placement of precordial leads, and they are placed pretty much everywhere. Standard 12-lead ECG misses actually nearly 20 to 30% of acute myocardial infarctions, so your heart attacks. And electrode placement today is time-consuming, accounting for up to 2 minutes. And there's no electrode from the onset of chest pain to cath lab to post-procedural monitoring. And most importantly, this is a message actually from our chief medical officer, an 18-lead ECG is not performed, even if it is included in guidelines. And majority of this problem actually is raised based on the current ECG electrode anatomy, so you cannot place it on the posterior side as the patient would turn over and all the electrodes would come off. So this is our solution. It's everything integrated into one patch with a Bluetooth 5.0 and NFC compatible hardware device. Our focus is mainly on screen printing technology, so similarly to how your newspapers or ties are made, it's low cost and a high medical grade solution. These patches are stretchable and flexible, are able to be worn for 48 hours and up to 1 week. They are fully waterproof, so you can take a shower in them, go running. Fully radiolucent, this is extremely important in the cath lab. You need a full view of the chest. FDA and CE marked. And it's a great tool to detect life-threatening, burdensome cardiac diseases, and not only cardiac, pulmonary embolisms, acute heart failure, etc. So let me give you a use case example. Our ischemic Holter, the patch, an 18-lead ECG patch plus this wearable coin is used at home, and we can detect your ST segment elevation changes. As soon as this is detected, you are automatically transmitted into this PCI pathway. So an ambulance comes in, and this exact same chest pain patch plus device can be utilized with a mobile app on a tablet in the ambulance. The results are automatically transmitted to the cath lab, where the physician, an interventional cardiologist, is already waiting for the patient. And once this patient is done and a stent has been placed, they are automatically transmitted into a cardiac rehabilitation pathway. Now, this cardiac rehabilitation pathway currently is done in hospitals. Our aim is to create a cardiac rehabilitation platform to take this cardiac rehab home. So we can do this by creating a hybrid 6-week version of using the exact same products to have cardiac rehab done at home. Now, the patient, all the data from at home, from the hospital, and cardiac rehab all get placed into this so-called black box that we all know as AI. And this is basically what we're now focusing in on is AI algorithms. So traditional methods have ECG algorithms analyzing J-point detection for the ST segment changes. We actually aim to go beyond that and focus on image pattern recognition in a one-patch solution with medical grade AI. Supporting the rapid detection of ECG changes and provide an accurate, reproducible diagnosis. And this can only be done with a patch. The patch is easily placed on. Within 15 seconds, you get an automatic result. And we have a head-to-head trial showing 99.4% equivalency to your standard ECG electrodes. Basically, it's a full overlap. Our competitive advantage. So everyone in this space, we all know that the ECG market is fulfilled with arrhythmia monitoring devices. So they have been focusing in on a single lead ECG. So your Zeo patch, AliveCore, ePatch, RudyRx, etc. All of them have been focusing in on atrial fibrillation. We can do that plus more. With this 18-lead ECG, our key focus is not only arrhythmia, but also detecting life-threatening conditions. And the general scope of SmartMedic's project, we can also use the same technology as it is stretchable and flexible in sleep stages, neurology, so we're building an EMG rehabilitation platform, lifestyle, for your athletics, and we're actually partnering up with Orlen to put it into the next marathon in Poland, and rehabilitation. This is just an example of our sleep staging prototype from 9 points in comparison to a full body of wires. We have 91% equivalency just from electrodes on the face. Now, to give you a bigger scope of the project in the cardiac space, we have developed 5 different patches. All of them have their own use cases, and all of them are CE marked and FDA approved. When we go from the top to the bottom, this is our precordial patch, so it is a part of a 12-lead ECG, and we have a wired adapter. You can basically plug in any ECG found in the hospital today to this precordial patch. The 12-lead ECG has the highest use case would be in stress test or cardiac rehab done in hospital. This can be wired or wireless. Our 18-lead ECG, this is the main focus as it is applied on the posterior and anterior side. And 2 other patches with ongoing strategic partnerships in these. ASI is with Philips, and the MCT will be with Medical Algorithmics. Now funding. To date, we started off in November, actually 2017, and received a seed round for 1.9 million. We have built in this time a US KOL scientific board with the co-PI of the Apple Heart study on our scientific board, Scripps, who has been working, Scripps physicians who have been working with the Zeo patch, and Mayo Clinic cardiac rehabilitation physicians to help us build this platform. We have a patch design that is freezed. Our business strategy has been defined with early discussions with distributors. We have presented at ICI last year and this year at EuroPCR and the TCT Shark Tank, most recently obtaining top 5 startups out of 1,400 that presented. CE mark and FDA approval for all patches and CE mark for the adapter. ISO certificates, and also 2 patents, one in PCT and one in EPO, and this is mainly for a noise reduction composition within the electrode patch itself. To date, we have burned through 1 million USD, and we have 2 strategic partnerships undergoing in a completely different space. 2 US partners that have realized that our technology can be utilized in the electrophysiology space for 3D cardiac mapping and ablation procedures, and also for surface electronavigation of CRT, so your pacemaker implantation devices. We have a current development of this wireless ECG coin and algorithms, and we're defining a new product priority list to take things further. So with $1 million in smart money, we make the smart money smarter. And so imagine what would happen if we got 5 to 7 for a Series A round. And this is exactly why we're here. We're looking for a 5 to 7 million USD Series A round. This will be a combination of equity and our strategic deals that are undergoing. Our core team, Lucas Koltowski, he's the Chief Medical Officer and an interventional cardiologist who is practicing. I myself am a physician, but I have stopped working as a physician for the last year to be full-time in SmartMedix. And Greg, he is the CTO and the mastermind behind the patches. Thank you, and if there's any questions.